England 4, Croatia 2. Brilliant start to the tournament for England. Yeah, this review is a little bit late, but it's not a reaction, it's a review. So I like to take my time. I like to look at the match again. I didn't watch the 90 minutes, but I watched the highlights again. Listen to the interviews again, the player interviews, management interviews. Took in a few pundits' opinions, their takes. A few pundits that I respect. You know what I mean? I took in their takes and their opinions before I gave my review, because I like to give a well-rounded, well-informed review when I do give it to the community. So yeah, I'll start with the manager who I've given a lot of stick. I'll start with him. I've given him a lot of stick about his squad selection. I still do believe that he picked a lot of this squad based on players that he likes, based on players that he gets on with, based on his ego, because believe it or not, managers have egos too. And I feel like the media portrayed it as a bit of harmony within the squad, within the players. But I think it was more based on harmony within the players and the management. I think it was more based on harmony for himself. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, let's get into the review anyway. I feel like we got to give him credit for this victory. Have to give him credit. Under Gareth Southgate, this would have ended the draw. Might have scraped it. We might have got through, you know what I mean, by the skins of our teeth, like, but it would have been a nervy one all the way to the 95th minute. So I feel like you got to give him credit for this victory, because he changed the game at halftime. The players said it themselves. He said, even if you lose it, let's lose it playing the way we're supposed to play. Let's stop playing within ourselves. Let's take the handbrake off. Well, I feel like in the past, Gareth especially would have done the opposite. You know what I mean? They would have tried to sit on the lead and just see it through to the end, and maybe would have lost the goal last minute, ended up with a draw. Or they would have, do you know what I mean, snuck through, won the game 3-2 or 2-1, whatever it is. But it would have been a nervous and very draining mentally game for the players. But yeah, not to say that this is a game that we shouldn't have won, because I heard a lot of people pre-game talking it up, you know, Croatia, tough game, especially Roy Keane, he was giving it, you know what I mean, the Croatia. But for me, this was a game that we should have won. Let's get that right. This was a game, if you look player for player, there's maybe only 2 Croatian players that would get into our squad, let alone our first 11, and that's Modric and Garvida. So let's have it right. This is a game that we absolutely should have won. It was a subpar Croatia, a team with a 40-year-old Modric, who had a shocker, by the way, absolute shocker. But like I said, under Southgate, this 40-year-old Modric and this subpar Croatia would have bopped us off the park, because we would have been too negative. Whereas Tuchel decided to roll the dice. So after nervy first half, which saw tentative build-up play and a lack of conviction in the final third, the second half saw England grab the game by the scruff of the neck and basically play with front foot pressure, forward passes, positivity, willing runners, and play with risk, which paid off. As they say, no risk, no reward. The subs were spot on too. Got to give Tuchel credit for the substitutions. Again, Southgate would have brought on a Henderson. You would have seen Jordan on the sub line, on the sidelines doing the stretches. He would have came on for a Jude. Do you know what I mean? And they would have tried to shut up shop with the 3 midfielders in there. But no, the subs were mainly like for like instead of defensive security, which saw England remain a threat until the final whistle. And if we were more clinical, the scoreline would have looked even more pleasing. We could have won this game about 6-2, even if you calculate the amount of chances missed. We could have won this game 6-2, maybe even 7-2. That might sound a bit far-fetched, but like I said, I've watched the game again. I've watched the highlights again. If you watch it again, there was definitely 3 or 4 more chances that could have been or should have been converted. So yeah, positives overall from the game was the attacking threat, the running power. I feel like that's a profile for Tuchel, and how he picked this squad as well was based on P&P, pace and power, and the ability to react within games. Now that was the most impressive thing today. This is something we ain't seen from England teams, that ability to react within games, or react to new instructions or fresh instructions given by the coaching staff. And then how I would like us to develop on this is to not have to wait until halftime to react, because against better teams than Croatia, you will go in at halftime 2-3 goals down, playing the way we was playing in the first half. But because it was Croatia, that didn't happen. So we had enough time to go in at halftime and get the relevant instructions needed, and then go out in the second half and make things right. But like I said, I would like to see, in terms of progression, I would like to see the players be able to work things out on the pitch. Like, hang on a minute, we're being far too negative. Declan Rice, you do not need to be on the toes of the centre-backs, trying to pick up the ball and start play when you do not pass the ball forward. That is Anderson's space. Allow Anderson to manoeuvre within that space, because what you are doing by dropping too deep is you are inviting pressure from the Croatians, and then you are giving them confidence when they're half nicking the ball. So Declan Rice, up the pitch, please. Get in that half space as the floating 8, as you was doing for Arsenal in the first part of the season. Do that, Jude high up on the right side, floating 8. Let Anderson do what he does back there. Let the centre-back split. Let O'Reilly go into that half space. Let James push on. Do you know what I mean? Like that. But these are things that I would have liked to see in-game. Things that the players would have realised, and the leaders like Harry Kane, Declan Rice, Stones, you know what I mean, could have communicated to each other and got right. The one person I did see trying to communicate this throughout the first half was Anderson. His communication is better than everyone else on the pitch. Better than everyone else on the pitch. I'm telling you, if you watch it back, Anderson is forever coaching his teammates. He was getting frustrated. He was trying to he even told Jude sometimes, yo, stop dropping in there, jog on, like push up the pitch. He was saying the same thing to Rice. He was telling O'Reilly at times when he needed to stay wide to give an option. There was one time where Pickford passed the ball out for a throw-in to Croatia, but it was because he had no option. When the ball got dropped back to Pickford, as you do, the left back has to get wide as possible to give that angle for a pass. Centre back splits a little bit as well to provide an angle for the pass, where if the pass isn't on, then the keeper can go long. But O'Reilly didn't sprint to give the angle. So before you know it, the Croatian attacker is on Pickford's toes, and Pickford couldn't even do the long one. He just had to knock it out for a throw-in to Croatia. So I saw Anderson giving it to O'Reilly, and not just giving it to him, but showing him, like, next time you got to sprint, you got to make that angle. So yeah, brilliant from Anderson communication-wise. The negatives, I would say, was the back four and the goalkeeper. Looked vulnerable at times. Need to handle the nerves better. So mentality throughout in general, just mentality. Need to handle the nerves better. But hopefully that's just the first game nerves, and they've got it out of their system. They've got the victory, and yeah, it's coming home.